Good morning, class 12 students. This is the sixth part of the chapter, the rat trap. So, before we proceed with the remaining part of the chapter, let's discuss the portion we covered in the last 5 videos. As you are aware, the chapter revolves around the rat trap sailor. He begs, he collects wires from shops and people. He asks for wires, and then he used this wire to make it into a rat trap. But he's leading a very poor life as he is not able to earn enough by selling the rat traps. So he he resorts to petty thievery, and that's how he keep his body and soul together. And children, because he has never been treated with love, compassion, and affection, he has developed this pessimistic approach attitude towards people and the world, and he's always busy in thinking something. And one day he was by an idea that this whole world is a rat trap. The way we put pork, cheese in the rat trap as bait in order to trap the mouse. Similarly, the world, it is actually a metaphor. We see the rhetoric device is metaphor, because rat trap does not only mean rat trap, it means the world. So according to him, this whole world is a rat trap. It offers us joy, comforts, riches, and many more other things in order to trap us, the way the rat trap traps a mouse. So it racked us, it tempts us, and the very moment when a rat gets tempted and it comes inside the cage, and the very moment it touches the bait, the rat trap shuts upon them, and its life is doomed. Similarly, the world also offers us bait in forms of money, comforts, luxury, and all. And once we get tempted and we try to achieve it, we try to have it, right? And this world shuts upon us. And this is very amusing for the rat trap sailor, this whole idea. And when he thinks about the people who has already been caught, he laughs at them. And also he thinks about the people who are on the verge of being trapped. So one day what happened, when he was it was the month of December. At night he was moving along the roadside, and it was very cold, so he was looking for a shelter, and he came across an little old cottage. He knocked, and he was welcomed by an old man. The old man was a generous person. He welcomed the rat trap, the peddler. He offered him porridge, he offered him supper, he gave him tobacco, and then they played majolis. And even the old man was he was he was generous with his confidence, his private matters, and he told him that he worked as a crofter in Ram's oil and meal for so many years, but when he grew old he had to take retirement, and now he is supported by his cow. The cow gave enough milk for creamery, and he has managed to save. He received 30 kroner in the payment last month, and this is what he showed to the peddler. And now, as you're aware, that peddler is a thief, because he also steals from people. He isn't just a beggar, he also steals. That's how he keep himself, that's how his life goes on. I mean, that's how he keep his body and soul together. So the next day when the owner of the house woke up, the peddler also woke up, because it is not considered good if the guest is still lying in the bed when the owner is awake, right? So the peddler, he also gets up, and they both leaves the house. The old man locks the door, and then they depart. But after an hour, we see the rat trap sailor peddler. He returned. He stood in front of the door, and he smashed the window, and he slid his hand inside, and he gets hold of a pouch. He takes out 30 kroner and then he put back the pouch. And then he decided to take he doesn't take the main thoroughfare, as he was in a fear of being caught. So he decides to take the way that goes through the forest, right? And after and then what happened next? He finds out, he realized that he was moving in a circle. He couldn't find his way out of the forest, and it was very difficult for him to find out the way out. And he got panicked, and it was very cold outside. He was exhausted, he was tired because it's been a long time. So he sat down under the tree, and he knew that his death was approaching. But at this moment he heard the thumping sound, and he knew at once that the sound was coming from the Ramzo iron firm Ramzo iron mill. And this is where we see that the author of the prose, Selma Lagerlof, uh, has employed the use of images to help her reader visualize the working condition of Ramzo iron mill. That you could actually you could actually feel the warmth of furnaces in the iron mill. You could actually watch the iron ore being brought up. You could actually see that the blacksmith and its apprentice, they are working with the iron, and then it is being put into the machine, and then it is taking a different form, right? So this is a continuous process that can be seen in the Ramsey iron work. So the Rattrap sailor, he went towards the direction, and then he entered. The blacksmith and apprentice, they did not pay any attention to the Rattrap sailor, because it was very common to have a visitor, to have such a visitor like a vagabond or trap, because it is cold. So they come frequently in order to find the warmth and shelter in the meal, in the iron meal. So he did not pay any attention to him, as if he was non-existent. The tramp, he asked for permission to stay in the iron meal, and the blacksmith, he did not even bother to answer him. He just simply nodded. And very soon we see that the iron master, who happens to be the owner of this iron mill, he arrives at the location, and he mistakes the peddler, the tramp, the vagabond, as one of his old regimental comrade, and he referred to him as Nils Olf. And this Rattrap sailor, he has already fallen into the world trap, but he hasn't learned his lesson. He tries to pretend to be the same person whom the iron master is referring to, so that in order he could get at least a few money or a few bill. But the man gave him nothing. The iron master gave him nothing. The iron master was ambitious. His ambition was to supply the perfect iron to other part of the area, and he invited his whom he mistakes as his old regimental comrade. He asked him to join him, in Christmas. But the rat trap seller, he denied the opportunity this time, because he knew that if he would go to his house, he would surely be caught. So he said no. And then what happened? He tried to do it. He tried to convince him, but he could not. He could not agree. He did not accept his invitation, and then the iron master left. And after some time, we see a carriage arrived at the location, and a girl alighted from it. It was Edla Wilminson, the eldest daughter of. She is the eldest, and her name is Edla Wilminson. Iron Master he had got a wife. Her name was Elizabeth Wilminson. She died long ago. He also has got two sons, but they are abroad. But now he lives here with his eldest daughter, Edla Wilminson. So the one who alighted from the carriage, it was Edla Wilminson, and uh, she was she was accompanied by the valet, right? She was accompanied by the valet. So let's find out when when she went across him. she could easily figure out that the man was actually trying to hide or run away from something. Maybe he had stolen something, or maybe he had escaped from the prison. So let's see what happened. Will she be able to convince him to come to her house to spend the day on the day of Christmas? Let's find out. Let me just highlight. Okay, so this is the portion we are supposed to start from. Okay. Um, She looked at him compassionately with her heavy eyes, and then she noticed that the man was afraid. Either he has stolen something or else he has escaped from jail. She thought and added quickly, "You may be sure, Captain, that you will be allowed to leave ju- us just as freely as you came." So when she knew that he was afraid, so she tried to assure him, and she said that it will, the man will not be forced. I mean, it will always be his, he will always be at his liberty. If he wants to leave, he can leave uh, any time of any time of the day, right? So he can leave them just as freely as he came. But she requested him to come and stay with them over Christmas Eve, right? She said she's in such a friendly manner that the Rattrap peddler must have felt confidence in her. "It would never have occurred to me that you would bother with me yourself, miss," he said. "I will come at once." So, children, this is where we see the power of love and compassion, right? And the polite manner. Because Rattrap seller, he has never been treated with love and compassion, and at this part of the chapter, when we see that the girl, she is treating him with love and compassion and respect, the man could not say no to her request, and he said that he would come to her house to spend Christmas. He accepted the fur coat, right? He accepted the fur coat. This is the part let me just zoom it out for you. He accepted the fur coat which the valet had handed with a deep bow, threw it over his rags, and followed the young lady out to the carriage without granting the astonished means shocked blacksmith so much as a glance. So what happened? He was offered a fur coat. He put on the fur coat, and then he followed the girl right to the carriage without granting the astonished blacksmith so much as a glance. And the blacksmith, he was so astonished because he knew that the Rattrap sailor was an imposter, and he did not even pay any attention to the blacksmith. He just left. He just followed the girl. But while he was riding up to the manor house, he had evil forebodings. Why the devil did I take that fellow's money? He thought, now I'm sitting in the trap and will never get off it. And this was the realization that he had earlier, that he had already fallen into trap. And now he pondered over it, that why on earth he stole the money from the old crofter, and now he had been trapped, and now he couldn't get out, right? Because it was going to haunt him, because although he is safe and sound right now, but he has this fear in his mind that won't let him live. The next day was Christmas Eve, and when the ironmaster came into the dining room for breakfast, he probably thought that with the satisfaction of his old regimental comrade whom he had run across so unexpectedly. "First of all, we must see to it that he gets little flesh on his bones," and he said to his daughter, who was busy at the table, "and then we must see that he gets something else to do than to run around the country selling rat traps," right? So the next day, when the Christmas Eve arrived, the ironmaster, he came to the dining room for breakfast, and the ironmaster was so happy because he was so satisfied to have met his old regimental comrade, and he told his daughter that this man should be given enough food to fill his belly, and also uh, you know we would find some job for him, so that he would not run around or wander here and there selling the rat traps. It was queer, means strange, that the things have gone downhill with him so badly, that said the daughter. "Last night I did not think there was anything about him to show that he had once been an educated man." So the daughter told his father that it was actually very, very strange that how he could have suffered such a downhill, and such a bad circumstances, unfortunate, so unfortunate, unfavorable circumstances. And the last night her experience was, she could not even understand, and it was very hard to believe that this man was once an old regimental comrade, because she could not find any etiquette. Although he was, you may lose the money, but if you are once educated, you will never lose your education, your manner, your etiquette, right? But she couldn't see any etiquette or manner in the man, and that is because he has never been educated, and he was never a old regimental comrade. You must have patience, my little girl, said the father. As he gets clean and dressed up, you will see something different. Last night he was naturally embarrassed. The tramp manners will fall away from him with tramp clothes. Just as he said, the doors opened and the stranger entered. So, what did the father tell his daughter? He asked him to have patience, and he told him that the very moment he would get clean and would dress up, he would look different, and you would see that you would see that he would be a nice man. But what happened? Let's find out. When the door opened, the stranger entered, and now he was truly clean. This time, because he has taken a bath, he had got freshened up. He is now putting up he's wearing the new clothes, and he entered. He's completely clean and well dressed up. The valet had bathed him and cut his hair, shaved him. Moreover, he was dressed in a good-looking suit of clothes which belonged to the iron master, and he's wearing iron master's clothes. He wore a white shirt and a starched collar and whole shoes. But although his guest was now so well groomed, the iron master did not seem pleased. But the iron master did not seem pleased, and now I believe, children, you can guess that why he was not pleased. Because now, when he is so cleaned up and dressed up, the iron master actually he can actually figure out that he is no friend. He is in his acquaintance. He is some imposter, right? Who pretended to be his friend. And he puckered. Bro means he was so aggressive that you could actually see the aggression, and through his eye movement and his expression, it was easy to understand that when he had seen the stranger fellow in the uncertain reflection from the furnace, he might have made a mistake, and he realized that in the iron mill he made a mistake. He mistook him as his old friend, and when he stood there in broad daylight, it was very easy for him to realize that he was nothing but an impostor. What does this mean? And he shouted, he thundered. Iron Master thundered. He was so aggressive, so furious. He said, and the stranger, the Rattrap seller, he did not make any attempt to know to pretend, right? He just simply accepted, and he saw at once that the splendor had come to an end, and he knew that everything, the treatment that he was getting has come to an end. And he told him that it was not his fault, because he never pretended to be anything but a poor trader, and he also pleaded and begged to be allowed to stay in the forge. But it was Iron Master and his daughter who requested him to come to his house. The Iron Master, he did not hesitate a minute, and he was not at all happy with his dishonesty. And he said that he would call sheriff, and the sheriff would have a look into this matter. The tramp took a step forward and struck the table with his fist, and this antagonized the tramp. He hit the table with his feet, and then he shouted. Even the rat trap seller shouted, "Mr. Iron Master, how things are?" He said, "This whole world is nothing but a big rat trap. All the good things that are offered to you are nothing but cheese, rinds, and bits of pork set out of drag a poor fellow." And the Iron Master, he uttered the truth, the idea that struck him, that this whole world is a rat trap, right? And this will, everybody is bound to come across this bait. And if the sheriff comes now and locks me up for this, then you, Mr. Animaster, must remember that day may come when you yourself may want to get a big piece of pork, and then you will get a caught in the trap. And then he told the Iron Master that one day you would also fall in this trap, and nothing will save you. So, children, that's enough for today's session. In case you have any question, you can talk to me. You can approach me, and we'll discuss this in the live class also. Not in the live class, we'll discuss. You can approach me for any queries. Thank you. Have a nice day. This homework will only be shared with the children who has not submitted their consent form. And please, children, do look for your homework in case, and please do it. In case you don't find, or you find difficulty in understanding the question, you can talk to me. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.